Have you ever paused to question the true nature of an enemy? Is it someone outside of you? Or could it be something within? Let's dive in and break down the concept of enemy. The concept of an enemy is often used inappropriately. We externalize opposition, believing that others are out to get us. But what if I told you that every enemy you perceive is a mirror reflecting back the unhealed, hidden aspects of yourself? In the grand design of existence, enemies don't just appear by chance. They are manifestations of our shadow, parts of ourselves we suppress, deny, or fail to integrate. As Carl Jung said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Scriptures, too, remind us that the real battle isn't against others, but within. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Ephesians 6:12. Your enemy is not a person. It is your own inner conflict projected outward. That resentment, jealousy, insecurity, or anger you suppress finds expression through those you clash with. Let's look at the shadow work for overcoming enemies. The way to overcome an enemy is not through retaliation, but through introspection. When you acknowledge your hidden self, the side you don't want the world to see, you reclaim power over your life. Just because no one sees it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Everything exists in thought first, before it manifests into reality. So the next time you encounter an enemy, ask yourself, 1. What part of me is being reflected back? 2. What lesson is this experience teaching me? 3. How can I integrate this shadow aspect to grow? Let's further dive deeper into why some people feel powerful when they have enemies and the hidden, unhealed wounds that fuel this mindset. For some, having enemies creates a sense of purpose, identity, and self-importance. They see opposition as proof of their significance. If people hate me, I must be doing something right. This belief feeds their ego and gives them a sense of control. But beneath the surface, this need for enemies often stems from unresolved inner conflicts. Many people equate having enemies with being strong or dominant. They thrive in opposition because it fuels their sense of self-worth. They believe fighting enemies gives them an edge, as if being hated confirms their power. This is why the ego thrives on division. It needs an us versus them narrative to feel superior. If they acknowledge that their enemies are reflections of their own issues, the ego loses its grip. If we go deeper, the need for enemies is often linked to unresolved trauma, fear, and insecurity. Here are some root causes: unhealed childhood wounds. People who lacked validation, love, or attention in childhood may seek conflict as a way to be seen. If they were raised in an environment where love was conditional or where they had to fight for recognition, enemies become a familiar dynamic. When we suppress our own flaws, weaknesses, or insecurities, we often project them onto others. Instead of dealing with their own shortcomings, they blame, attack, or create enemies who embody what they secretly dislike about themselves. Conflict can be addictive. It triggers adrenaline and dopamine, giving people a false sense of importance. People who are used to chaos often create enemies as a way to keep their nervous system in a heightened state of arousal. If they have no enemies, they have no distractions, and they'd be forced to face their own wounds. By keeping conflict alive, they avoid deep introspection and healing. Let us show you how to break free. Healing the root issue. To overcome the need for enemies, one must turn inward and do the work. 1. Self-reflection. Ask, why do I feel empowered by opposition? What part of me is unhealed? 2. Shadow work. Face and integrate the aspects of yourself you project onto others. 3. Inner child healing. Give yourself the validation and love you may have been missing. 4th, let go of the us versus them mentality. Real power is in self-mastery, not control over others. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Many who love having enemies don't realize they are trapped by their own unhealed wounds. But once they face their inner battles, the need for external ones disappears. True power comes from self-awareness, not conflict. When you heal, enemies disappear, not because they change, but because you no longer need them. In truth, your greatest enemy is often yourself, the version of you that fears growth, clings to old wounds, and resists change. When you embrace all of you, the illusion of enemies dissolves. Your enemies are your greatest teachers. What are your thoughts on this? Have you noticed this pattern in people before?